Once again, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, forever and ever. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and as well as all other elders that teach the exact same thing. Citations to the Hoop for elect, beginning with the 144,000. This lesson will be entitled, "The time of Jacob's trouble will not be a walk in the park." Jacob's trouble will not be as easy as you may think. And this is because the elect, those in the know, those who believe, those who have been following the prophecies, following the warnings of the prophets, showing signs of being the elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel. They already know this. So it's more so to those who are more in the 2/3 spirit. Not saying that they're sealed 2/3, but showing signs of being 2/3 for whatever reasons. Doubting. The reality of things, not taking things as serious as they should be taking it. Those who, if they don't repent quickly, because the doors of repentance are closing fast. Those who don't repent and change their ways and change their mindset quickly will end up being 2/3, which is it's all set up before we were born anyway, but it's not, everything hasn't manifested in the flesh, so we don't know until we know. We don't know who the prophets are, the true prophets, the true men of the Lord. We have a good idea, of who the prophets, who the elect, who the 2/3 are. But like the scripture says, roughly paraphrasing, then shall they know that a prophet was amongst them. When certain prophecies unfold, once we get once we get past certain prophecies, once we get to a certain point of time, with certain prophecies coming to pass, then we'll know. Then it's going to become more clear and it's going to be more clear who the elect are and who the 2/3 are. Primarily, once the micro C hit, which is the MOTB, pursuant to Revelation 13:16, comes to pass, and we start to see people actually, the masses of the people actually receiving that mark, the charagma, and using it. That's when we're really gonna know. But so I'm gonna start here. I put in a basic Google search: U.S. citizens struggling to feed themselves. And this is the AI overview, right? And this is based on 2023. We're in 2024, so these numbers, I'm sure, went up drastically. In 2023, 13.5% of households in the United States, or 47.4 million people, experienced food insecurity. Right? Very low security, 5.1 of households, or 6.8 million people, experienced very low food security, which is when households regularly reduce their food intake or skip meals. Children, 17.9 of households with children were food insecure, and 1.2 of children lived in households where one or more child experienced very low food security. Race and ethnicity. Food insecurity rates were higher for blacks, were higher for black, 23.3%, and Latinx, which I'm sure means Latinos, 21.9% households. Then white non-Latinx, white non-Latinos households, 9.9%. You see how totally disproportionate the numbers are? You know, when comparing the way Esau lives, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, to you, Jake, you know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Jumping down, I'll read the whole thing. Geography. The southern region had the highest rate of food insecurity at 14.7%, followed by rural areas at 15.4%, urban areas at 15.9%, and suburbs at 11.7%, right? Some reasons for the increase in food insecurity include rising prices, wages that have not kept up with inflation, and expired pandemic supports, right? Such as those stimulus checks, right? That was like the last time, you know, you can sense, you know, because Jake always struggled, you know, but from time to time, you know, it you can sense, you can feel a sense of relief financially in the masses, you know, and I'm talking about Jake, you know, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you know, when, you know, compared to the times we living in now, when those stimulus checks was being given out, you know, the tension was totally less, you know, and if Jake was smart, you know, they would have used those stimulus checks wisely, but like Kanye West said in that I forget the name of the song, I think All Falls Down, I forget. He said, I got a problem with spinning before I get it, right? You know, that's typical Jake shit. You know, we don't appreciate, we tend to not show appreciation for having abundance of food and abundance of money and abundance of resources while we have it, and we you know, we're the biggest consumers, you know, so especially if you're getting what appears to be free money, you know, Jake blow that shit. You know, we already be backed up on bills and you know, feeding the kids and the children rather, and you know, clothes, washing clothes, things like that. You know, that's why income tax time is always, you know, Jake always looks forward to income tax time so much because it uh it uh it provides a way to catch up with things, you know. And then a couple months later, you know, you right back in the same boat, same cycle, you know. And Jake complains about these things all the time. You can hear it often in, you know, the songs that they sing, the raps that they rap, you know, movies that surround around, you know, how Jake lived. It's everyone knows these things. So what was I reading? This right here, right? What is this website? ERSUSDA.gov, right? Food Security and Nutrition Assistance. ERS, which is the Economic Research Service, monitors the food security of U.S. households through an annual nationally representative survey. While most U.S. households are food secure, a minority of U.S. households experience food insecurity at times during the year, meaning that their access to adequate food for active, healthy living is limited by lack of money and other resources, right? And so we already know that this takes effect, you know, based upon the statistics that we read, the percentages. These food insecurities have way much more of an impact upon Jake rather than you know, these heathen nations, primarily, you know, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. What was that? It says some experience very low food security, a more severe range of food insecurity where food intake of one or more members is reduced and normal eating patterns are disrupted, right? And you know, like I said, this is, well, this article was from, where's that? This is from September 4th, 2024, right? But it's based upon 2023, right? So you know that you know, you can see it, you can feel it, people talking about it, right? And you may be experiencing this yourself, you know. Households going from eating 3 times a day, you know, being able to afford, and I'm not going, you know, because Jake, we never really have been in a position to waste money. You know, it's just a part of our culture to be so ignorant and you know, so disorganized and careless that you know, we spend money irresponsibly, not having a proper understanding of our position in the economy. You know, we're always trying to keep up with the Joneses and appear to be able to maintain what is called, what is looked at as a normal life, you know. And the Joneses are you know, those who live in the suburbs. You know, we try to uphold this image and make it seem like we're capable of living just as good or better as those in the suburbs, which is, you know, primarily Edomites. And so we go to eat out, you know, as often as we can. You know, we quick to buy fast food, you know, as means to feed the children, you know, for out of pure laziness. You know, that's a waste of money. You know, we buy name brand clothes. You know, we celebrating all these fucking holidays. You know, we don't realize just how much we waste fucking money, man. You know, or how much how much more we will be able to stretch our money if we, you know, cooked at home. You know, primarily cooked at home. Use coupons when shopping. You know, shopping smartly. You know, we would and just from you know, we would be able to stretch our money even more further, but based upon our culture and the way that we live, trying to appear to be capable of keeping up with the average American image, our people keep themselves in this continuous cycle where, you know, we'll be on food stamps, we'll receive government assistance, you know, and it's typical average Jake shit for those resources to run out before the month ends, you know. From the 1st to the 15th, you know, is when, you know, our people be doing the best, right? From the 1st to like the 15th, but after the 15th, the 20th, that last week and a half of the month, you know, and this is under normal circumstances, you know, that last week to a week and a half of the month, you know, most households, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, you know, you gotta start spending cash. You gotta start, you know, you start skipping meals. Children might eat twice a day. You as the adult, you might eat once a day. You know, y'all go from drinking juice to drinking water. You know, y'all go from eating, you know, Jake always eats cereal, you know, in the morning, you know, but in the beginning of the month you might get a decent breakfast, pancakes, eggs, and, you know, sausage. But towards the end of the month, it's definitely cereal, definitely oatmeal. You probably gotta put water in the cereal type shit. I mean, peanut butter and jellies, definitely pulling out the oodles and noodles, you know. So it says some experience very low food security, a more severe range of food insecurity where food intake of one or more members is reduced and normal eating patterns are disrupted, right? And that's another thing, you know. Our people so fucked up. It's always, you know, you the more children you have, you know, or the more members in your household, the worse it gets. You know, and Jake, there's always, you know, it's always a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a friend of the family, you know, who's down and bad, who needs a place to stay, you know, who's also eating up the food, you know, they not working, You know, you feel bad, you know, because overall, our people tend to have you know, try to sympathize for one another and and you know, help each other out. You know, you might give a person might be down and out, cousin, uncle, whoever, be down and out. They out of a job, they don't have a place to stay. They hit you with the sob story, you know, and you let them, you know, they ask to stay for a week or two. You know, next thing you know, they've been living with you for fucking a whole year or two. You know, so it says reliable monitoring of food security contributes to the effective operation of USDA's food and nutrition assistance programs aimed at reducing food insecurity. USDA administers 16 domestic food and nutrition assistance programs that affect the lives of millions of people and account for roughly 2/3 of USDA's annual budget. Over a typical year, about 1 in 4 people in the United States participates in at least one of these programs, right? So 1 out of 4 people are, you know, utilizing the food pantries, you know, or whatever resources to help get them by, you know, whether it's the Salvation Army, you know, you know, you might get clothes, you might receive, you know, free clothes. They not name brand, you know, they might be hand-me-downs, you know, but you so desperate that, you know, you don't have a choice, you know, living in shelters, going to food drives and getting whatever freebies you could get. 1 out of 4 Americans, right? And don't get it twisted, you know, Esau is falling. Esau is falling out of power, and so you're starting to see these Edomites, the so-called white men, doing the same thing Jake is doing. You know, panhandling, you know, begging, right? Strung out on drugs in you know, in the cities, in the ghettos, running around with the so-called Negroes and Latinos, you know, trying to get their next hit, trying to get their next drink, right? So this is a little chart, right? And you can see, right, 2020, when they was forcing a jab upon the people, you know, for that C-19, you know, from 2000, what is it, 13, from 2013 to around 2020, 2021, you know, it was like the lowest, right? And then it just spiked. Then it just started spiking and going crazy. And I know that it's higher now in 2024, way higher. But anyways, it says in 2023, 13.5% of U.S. households were food insecure at least sometime during the year, meaning the households had difficulty providing enough food for all their members because of lack of resources, right? And, you know, depending on the time of the year, the time of the month, you know, it's worse. Certain times it's worse than others, you know. It says the 13.5% of food insecure households, 18.0 million households, include 5.1%, 6.8 million that experience very low food security. A more severe form of food insecurity in which the food intake of some household members was reduced and normal eating patterns were disrupted. Right. You might have been used to having leftovers around, a little extra, you cooked enough, everybody ate, everybody got full, right? And now, the next day you probably heat up the same thing that you had for dinner last night for lunch the next day, and those things but now it's like leftovers is like unheard of, man. All right. It says the 2023 prevalence rate of food insecurity was statistically significantly higher than the rate record in 2022. Significantly higher, right? 12.8%. It's another little chart, right? Income below poverty line, right? That's Jake, right? Single mothers, single fathers, right? And that goes to show that and I'm just speaking. It's my own opinion, right? But single mothers and single mothers are doing way worse than single fathers, because what? The scripture speaks about our people being ye careless women. The scriptures, the Lord called the women of our nation careless multiple times, whereas though fathers, even though they may not have as much resources as mothers, they tend to be more organized. They tend to be more careful, and spend money more wisely. I know it's definitely like that with me and my family. I don't get as much money. I don't receive nowhere near as much benefits as Eve does, and she definitely makes more money than I do, because she's not a believer, first and foremost. And so the things that she does, scheming and scamming, finessing, she about her money. I ain't gonna lie, she's willing to do much more than I'm willing to do with me, trying to stay in the boundaries of the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But you would think that you wouldn't think that she would need me, but rather than me needing her. She runs out of money, and I wind up being the one, the one who's able to come through in an emergency situation. And it's not because I make more money, it's because I just spend money much more wisely. But anyways, jumping down, in 2023, 38.7% of households with incomes below the federal poverty line were food insecure. Food insecure households include those with low food security and very low food security. Rates of food insecurity were also significantly higher than the national average of 13.5% for single-parent households, women living alone, Black and Hispanic households, and households in principal cities and rural areas. Parents often shield children from experiencing food insecurity, particularly very low food security, even when the parent themselves are food insecure. In 2023, 17.9% of households with children were food insecure, and about half of those food insecure households with children, only the adults experienced food insecurity. Right. So the children, the children won't see the effects of it as much as the parents, because the parents, make sacrifices and go without eating to make sure that the children are not going without eating. But it's getting so bad that the children are starting to, it's like you can't hide it anymore. You know. I told Eve, she said they was making pancakes or whatever, and I told her, I'm like, shit, you better make sure everybody get one pancake and one sausage apiece. She said, nah. It's like she got offended, but what she don't realize is that it's literally gonna come to that. It's literally, and it's best to get in that mind state. It's best to get that understanding and see things for what it is now, which is the purpose of this lesson. So it says in 2023, 17.9% of households with children were food insecure, and about half of those food insecure households with children, only about half of those food insecure households with children, I read that. It says, but in 8.9% of households with children, both children and adults were food insecure sometime during the year. And 1.0% of U.S. households with children, which is 374,000 households, both children and adults experienced instances of very low food security. So it gets into the differences. Right, so that's enough on that. So now I'm going to grab some scriptures, right? Because this is all prophecy. And these are all effects of Jacob's trouble. Characteristics of Jacob's trouble and signs of Jacob's trouble about to hit, right? So Salakia, need one second. This is Jeremiah chapter 30. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 4. And these are the words that the Lord spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah, right? All 12 tribes are going to experience Jacob's trouble, right? The southern kingdom, the Negro tribes, and the rest of the tribes, right? All 12 tribes, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, right? Verse 5, for thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace, right? We are not, before the kingdom of heaven can be established, which will be a time of all peace, unity, right? Perfect order and structure, perfect righteousness amongst the 12 tribes of Israel. Things have to get worse before the kingdom of heaven can be established, right? So the time of there's a time of great trembling and fear, ahead, right? Verse 6, ask ye now, and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Right. So this is part of Jacob's trouble. Men being stressed out and being worried, compared to women about to give birth, going through labor pains, right? And all faces are turned into paleness, right? Representing fear, being scared, because you don't know what the future may hold. You don't know if you're gonna be able to eat and provide, a proper way of living. You don't know if you're gonna properly be able to provide for you or your children. Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Right? Who's the he? The elect of the nation of Israel. Right? But it says, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Right? So these times that we're about to enter into are times that we've never seen before in history. It's gonna be worse than any of the most fearful times in history. It's gonna be worse than hardcore slavery. It's gonna be worse than the siege of Jerusalem. It's gonna be worse than the Dark Ages. How bad they spoke about the medieval times. It's going to be worse than the Great Depression. It's going to be worse than the so-called Holocaust. Right? It's going to be worse than World War One, the times of World War One, World War Two. And those times were great and horrible. Times full of tragedy. This is Revelations chapter 3. Verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Right? So the hour of temptation is the time of Jacob's trouble as well. Because all hell is gonna break loose. The economy is gonna collapse. The dollar, the economy is gonna fall. The dollar is gonna collapse. Right? Inflation is gonna continue to rise. Gas prices are gonna continue to rise. The prices for food is gonna continue to rise. Right? And it's going to there's going to be a great famine. There's going to be a great shortage of food. There's going to be civil unrest, riots going on. People looting, stealing from these businesses, right? So that if you do want to go, if you can't afford to go buy groceries, there isn't going to be any groceries left. People kicking in your breaking in your homes, breaking in enterings, not for your video games or for your furniture or for your television set, but for food and water, you know, canned goods and healthy drinking water. You know, people being gunned down, stabbed, right? The army being on the streets, this, you know, bombs going off, right? Curfews, checkpoints, right? And the temptation, you know, it's the greatest temptation of it all is gonna be them using the economy being in a chaotic state to implement their new world order, their one world government, one world army, one world money system, which will be the MOTB pursuant of Revelation 13:16, that micro C-hip. You know, the GPS technology, the tattoo of all tattoos. You know, that incision, that cutting into your skin of implanting a device that will prevent you from buying or selling unless you have that device, unless you receive that mark, right? And it's going to be a great temptation because if you don't receive that, then you will have to you will be forced to be on the worst side of the chaos. You know, and the only way that you will be able to start to make things better for yourself, you know, through the flesh, right? Because the elect are going to be going off faith. You know, the elect are going to be good, you know, and covered through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Without receiving that mark, you know. But if you don't have faith, if you don't believe, and if you're not covered by the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Then your only way of things, you're only gonna view that micro C-hip as means to fix everything or make everything better, you know. And you're gonna and 2/3 of our people are gonna give into that temptation, and they're gonna go run to receive that micro C-hip so they can have access to their bank accounts again, so that they can receive that universal basic income that the elites plan on forcing them upon the people, you know, so that they can continue receiving their welfare, their Section 8, you know, so that they can so that they can reverse the effects of being food insecure, like we read in the articles. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 6. It says, "How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty." Right? So the time of Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, right, of receiving that micro C-hip is all going to lead to a third world's war, right? The war to end all wars, which is going to end in a thermonuclear destruction, right? These are all prophecies of the end of days. You know, the end of days. You know, the end of the world, the end of the system of Esau, Edom, being in rulership. You know, this is what it's all about. Verse 7, "Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt." Right. So part of Jacob's trouble, part of things leading up to the day of the Lord's judgment, that thermonuclear destruction. Yahweh Shah making his second return, delivering the elect of the nation of Israel, establishing the kingdom of heaven on earth, right? Things leading up to that is all hands being faint in every man's heart, meaning their mind melting, and because in the day of the Lord's judgment, when the thermonuclear destruction takes place, there's going to be nothing you can do. You're either going to be delivered, you're either going to be saved because you're the elect, or you're not. All right. But even leading up to that great day, depending on what you're going through, right? You're going to be in fear, right? You're going to be powerless in the face of tribulation, in the face of hardships, right? This is Matthew 24, and I'll start at 14. It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." And this is part of the signs of how we know we're so close to the end, because this gospel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, right, which has been pushed throughout the four corners of the earth by way of the unicorn and internet, has reached, this prophecy has came to pass. You got brothers believing and teaching in the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, in most of your major cities in America, which is Babylon the Great, and various other parts across the four corners of the earth. Verse 15 says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand." Right? And this was talking about the siege of Jerusalem, 70 AD, when the Romans came in like a flood, enslaving and chasing, under persecution, causing over 1 million of Israelites to flee the land of Israel. Verse 16, it says, "Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." Right? Verse 17, "Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened." And this is another sign of how we know we're so close to the end, because the time is being sped up. Everyone is speaking about it, and only the elect are giving credit to the the power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah for the time speeding up, and linking it up with the prophecies, But it says it shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, right? So like I said again, right, even though this was talking about 70 AD, the time of Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, the days that we're about to enter into leading up to the day of the Lord's judgment is going to be worse than 70 AD. It's going to be all of the worst times in history rolled into one. All of the things experienced in the worst times of history rolled into one. And and the armies of the government, right? UN troops included, foreign soldiers, with these migrants flooding the borders, you got all types of foreign soldiers sneaking in, well, I'm not even gonna say sneaking in. They're actually being invited and welcomed into the country, for all hell to break loose, to bring about chaos, so that the elites can establish their new world order. All of these things that happened in the worst times in history are about to happen again. So jumping back up to 16, it says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Right. So due to all hell breaking loose, due to the quality of life falling at all-time lows, Jake is not prepared. Jake is not prepared for what is about to happen. It's and they hear about it. They have no choice but to hear about it, on the news, through the prophets. But and in their mind, Jake is so used to surviving and enduring, hardship times, that they think in their mind, we'll get past that too. We'll survive that too. But they don't understand just how difficult it's gonna get, right? But it's gonna get so difficult that you're gonna, a lot of people are gonna have to leave their homes. It's gonna be a wise thing to leave your home and go into a place where you don't know where you're gonna go. You just running from being killed, running because leaving your household and trying to go somewhere else because you're worried about there's literally no food around. It's just violence, right? Verse 17, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, right? You might want to leave, but you can't leave because the diary of Anne Frank, the army, those soldiers or people of your own nation might be looking, to they just might, people might run in your house and they just on a killing spree. They done lost their mind, or they just, they've put, you got, because you got certain spirits, like the scripture says, there'll be spirits created for vengeance. Some people, that they're already out of their mind, and the only thing keeping them in line is society being intact. They you can still call the police, and there's cameras and You know, the chances of you getting caught is great. But when all hell breaks loose, it ain't gonna be no calling the police, right? A person, a psychopath is not gonna is not gonna care as much about acting out on violence, you know, committing rape or whatever it may be, going on a killing spree, right? Just for the thrill of it, you know, they, you know, these spirits is going to be running rampant. It's going to be running wild. You know, America is going to be turned back into that wild, wild west state, you know. And so you may want to leave your household, but due to a group of savage-like men entering into your household, and you not, you know, you might not have a man around or whatever, you know, you so in fear, you know, you hiding in the attic, hoping that and praying to Jesus, because you don't know no better, right? That, you know, they don't find you. Verse 18, neither let him which is in the field return back to turn his clothes. Right? You may have, you know, you run away from your home, you know, for whatever reason, and you know, you think like, oh shit, I forgot my book bag. Oh shit, I forgot my my coat, you know. But it wouldn't be wisdom to go back and try to retrieve whatever items you left, because it's gonna be that hectic. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Right? You're not gonna want to have an infant, a toddler, right? You're not gonna want to have a young child, to take the responsibility of a young child, an infant or a toddler, in those days when all hell breaks loose, because you know they could easily blow your cover. You know, it's gonna create more literal weight for you to carry. You know, a mental burden. You know, and it's just not gonna be. It's gonna be a very ugly thing, man. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Right? You better hope it's not cold outside. Right, that's it on that. Salakia. Where I want to go, man. This is Isaiah chapter 65, verse 11. It says, but ye are they that forsake the Lord, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number, which represents 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Our people caught up in plantation Christianity, caught up in Islam, you know, Israelites who know that they're Israelites, in these, you know, in these camps, being led by false prophets. You know, those ain't nothing but Israelite churches. You know, churches, congregations of our people who know that they're Israelites. You know, but worshiping the wrong names. You know, they don't really understand what this truth is about. You know, they might not even believe in Jacob's trouble. You know, they're not preparing themselves for all hell to break loose, the hour of temptation. You know, and receiving that. You know, they're not preparing themselves to not receive that microseed. They may be being taught that it's okay to take the that micro C hit, you know. So this represents them, right? Our people worshiping these holidays, Thanksgiving, right? But ye are they that forsake the Lord, right? 2/3 of our people are gonna forsake the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? That forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, right? The table for the troop, right? Going back to Thanksgiving, right? When, you know, the troop being the pilgrims, right? And the table prepared for that troop is giving thanks, making an agreement with our enemies, making agreement with our enemies, Salaki, I lost my train of thought. Making agreement with our enemies, putting themselves in a position to be betrayed, right? And that furnish the drink offering unto that number, right? Like on Thanksgiving, you set up the table with the turkey, giving thanks to, any of our people still worshiping any of these pagan holidays, specifically Thanksgiving, they're not in the right spirit. They're not in the right mind state, because we're supposed to be separate from our enemies. We're supposed to be separate from the ways of the heathen nations, and we're definitely not supposed to be giving thanks to our enemies for helping destroy us and put us in captivity, right? We're supposed to, at this point in 2024, we're supposed to, in the age of information, we're supposed to know the truth behind, certain things that happen in history, to as though we don't got no business fucking celebrating fucking Thanksgiving, man. You celebrating Thanksgiving is celebrating the murder and robbing of our people. Going back to the so-called North American Indians, and how Esau Edom conquered this land, which later on was the same land in which we were enslaved under for hundreds of years. We're still slaves. Verse 12, therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spoke, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Right? And so the elect are preparing themselves for the time of Jacob's trouble, for the hour of temptation, for not, preparing themselves to live off faith in the face of hardships, for not willing to receive that micro C hit. But 2/3 of our people, they are not preparing themselves. They're not they're not gonna go through the things that they need to go through now in order to be in the right mind state to live off faith when all hell does break loose. And so they're gonna get the shit into the stick. They're not gonna be covered, right? And things might get better for them once they receive that micro C hit, but it's gonna be only for a very small, temporary, short period of time, and ultimately they're gonna be destroyed one way or another, whether it's through starvation or being uh, killed by wild beasts. You know, you can't forget about Leviathan. Leviathan gonna emerge out of the waters and tear a lot of shit up. You know, whether they gunned down, stabbed up, blow up by a bomb, die from sickness, you know, or they survive all waves of violence and just be taken out by thermonuclear bombs, you know. Therefore will I number you to the sword, right? You're gonna be marked for destruction, right? And not salvation. No matter the way you die, you're gonna die. And ye shall all bow down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer. When I spoke, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighted not. Right? You kept breaking the law, statutes, commandments. You kept indulging in sin. You said, everything that's going on in the world don't got nothing to do with me. I'll deal with it when it come. You know? Oh, those men that's out on the highways and byways, they don't know what they talking about. You know, I'm going to keep eating my shrimp. I'm going to keep eating my crabs, right? Pork tastes good to me, right? Keep getting tattoos and shape-ups, right? Keep celebrating these holidays. A lot of you people about to celebrate fucking Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, you know, and you're going to vote, you know. All of these things are going to get you killed, man. Verse 14, behold, my servants shall, no, verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat. Who's the Lord's servants? The elect of the nation of Israel, beginning with the 144,000, the prophets, those who are putting in the works to prove that they believe in the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, so that when all hell does break loose, they are used to receiving the instructions through their spirits and their minds on what to do to provide them stability when all hell breaks loose. Like the scripture says, wisdom and knowledge, or knowledge and wisdom, however it go, shall be the stability of thy times. Knowledge of the scriptures of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and wisdom of the knowledge and wisdom of the scriptures of the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is what's going to keep those who have faith stable. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Right? Slakia. Let me see something. This is Luke chapter 6. Luke chapter 6. Verse 24, it says, but woe unto you that are rich, right? Our people that are keeping up with the Joneses, right? They acting like they could afford to splurge, you know. They want to show off. They all about their followers and likes, you know. They don't care about keeping the law, statutes, commandments, you know, because they're in the pursuit of the American dream, the pursuit of happiness. You know, they're believing in the prosperity doctrine preached to them in these churches, right? They're all about the money. They're all about the bag, right? What the niggas say? Damn, I forgot what the nigga said. The nigga boss man D-Lo, that wicked ass nigga, man. He like trending right now. And you know, a lot of his lyrics talks about, you know, what do you say? If he ain't running up a bag, he running his damn mouth. You know, you know, if you're not in pursuit of getting money and getting rich, right? Then don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. You know, don't nobody. You just talking. You know, you're not doing nothing with your life. You know, you don't have any motion. You know, basically you a bum. You know, this is the vibration of the world. You know, especially amongst our people. You know, which we put pressure on each other. You know, to be crabs in a barrel. You know, we're all in the same circle. We're all in the same predicament, right? None of us is really doing better than the other one. None of us can reach the point of owning the barrel, right? Or being in any real position of power, right? Like the elites of this world, but we're steady competing amongst ourselves to try to get up there, you know. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. Right? When you it's either you suffer now, right, and receive a reward later, or you receive your reward now, right, and you suffer later, right? You either suffer now, you go through the trials and tribulations, you go through the spiritual fire, you go through the hardships, right? You don't you miss out on the party, on the fun, which it ain't. It's the quality of fun in this world is fucking ass as hell. Is shitty as hell, man. Right? Is people doing the same shit. You ain't missing nothing, right? You know, it's either you choose to separate yourself from the fun, the ways of this world, right? Preparing yourself to not receive that micro C hit, or you know, and have an opportunity, have a chance in the world to be delivered in one of the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven as an Israelite, or you have everything that you want now. You know, you live it up now, right? Which is going to lead up to you receiving that micro C, which is the MOTB, and that will cause you, you know, to not be able to receive salvation, not be able to be brought into the fold as one of the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven once Yahweh Shah makes his second return. You've received your gathering of riches, of prosperity already, right? So the Lord is just and fair. You know, he's a perfect balance, right? And that's why these women are running around like chickens with their head cut off, right? You know, girls just want to have fun, right? You know, this whole world is under a woman vibration. Women are looking down upon men. Women are calling themselves independent and they don't need men. You could see the shift changing, right? You could see the shift changing and women starting to think twice about it with them seeing all hell about to break loose, right? But yet and still, women are still in a position to live it up and not have to respect men, right? They're in a position of power more than men, right? They have better jobs, majority, right? Have better jobs. They're more stable, right? But in the kingdom of heaven, they're going to be put in perfect order, right? And the only power and authority that they're going to receive is that which their man allows them to have, their husband allows them to have. You know, they're not going to be. The kingdom of heaven is going to be under godly, a godly, manly vibration. You know, women are not going to dare assert the authority or try to take over the authority of a man. Verse 25. Woe unto you that are full, right? You that's one of the slang terms, right? Yeah, I'm eating, right? Or what the fuck he said on Paid in Full? I ain't eating. Everybody eats, B. You know? Woe unto you that are full, right? To be full meaning you know you're not missing anything, right? And these people are full of themselves, right? They're full of pride. They're full of a false sense of reality, right? They think that they know it all. They think they know what life is about, right? In their minds, life is about getting money and enjoying your life how you see fit, and you make your own rules, Woe unto them that are full, for ye shall hunger. Woe unto you that laugh now, for ye shall mourn and weep. All right, so the roles are gonna reverse. All right, this is Matthew chapter 6. Verse 33, straight to the point. It says, But seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Right. So living based on faith, separating yourself from the ways of this world, right, is a challenge, right? There are things to worry about, when thinking from a carnal aspect, but that's why this thing is about the spirit, it's about being spiritually minded, right? Like the scripture says, to be carnally minded is death. To be spiritually minded is life and peace, right? And so, not knowing, there's nothing more uncomfortable than not knowing, but, like Elder Apostle Gabar always says, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable now, so that when all hell breaks loose, you're already programmed. You're already used to it. You've already built up a callus to the things that are to come, and it's still gonna hurt, but it's not gonna hurt as much as those who haven't been preparing themselves and building up a callus. That extra layer of skin. So that when they're tempted to receive that micro C hip, the temptation is nowhere near as the same as those who haven't been preparing themselves. So that's what the elect are doing. That's what the elect are gonna do. That's what the elect are doing now. They're seeking things of the spirit first, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, getting in tune spiritually and mentally with the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, getting used to exercising their senses, getting used to receiving those instructions from the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua on what decisions to make in their life, in the face of hardships now, So this is 2nd Ezra 15 and 57. It says, Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. Right. So if you don't if you haven't seek the kingdom of heaven first, right? If you are not the elect, right? And you haven't and you've been chasing physical things, carnal things, money, right? You've been being a part of the world, having fun, right? Eating and drinking, right? You haven't had a worry in the world, right? When all hell breaks loose, you're gonna have multiple things to worry about, and you're not gonna know how to deal with it because you're not gonna be kingdom minded. You're not gonna be covered by the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You're not gonna be you're gonna be so used to being comfortable that you're not gonna be able to bear being uncomfortable. You know, you're not gonna know what to do when food is running short, when money is running short. You know, when you struggling to keep up with your bills. You know, you're not gonna know what to do if you're thrown into a concentration camp. You know, you're gonna lose your mind. You know, some people are gonna resort to cannibalism. You know, so thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. 58. They that be in the mountains, right, shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Right, talking about, you know, because you have people who are so carnal, you know, they can see all hell about to break loose, but in their stockpiling, you know, weapons and food, right? Setting up booby traps and things like, and they plan on, you know, hiding as means of surviving the time of Jacob's trouble or the hour of temptation. But from them thinking carnally and not and believe and, you know, trusting in themselves, trusting in their own power, the Lord is gonna allow them to be in a trick bag, right? And even though they're gonna have what appears to be good plans on how to survive, from them not being covered by the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, they're gonna have all the things that they need to survive, but it's not gonna benefit them. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger. They're still gonna die of hunger and eat their own flesh so much. They're gonna go so hungry that they're gonna start to eat their own flesh or their own family members, right? And drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. That's it on that. So let me see. One more. This is Ezekiel chapter 4, verse 9. It says, take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitches, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof. Right? So this is the Lord preparing Ezekiel for the siege of Jerusalem, the Babylonians coming in and besieging Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so verse 10 it says, and thy meat which thou shalt eat, and thy meat which thou shalt eat be by weight 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat. Right? And so this is an example of what the elect are going through now. You know, the Lord is putting them through times of suffering, trials and tribulations, and certain hardships, you know, and putting it in their spirits, in their minds, on the right decisions to make in order to survive these times, you know. And you know, they're going to be so used to going through these things and making proper decisions through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Shah, that is going to be way easier for them to get through these days that we're about to enter into, rather than 2/3 of the nation of Israel who haven't been receiving these instructions through the spirit, right? And thy meat which thou shalt eat by weight. This is wisdom, right? When food starts to get scarce, when money starts to get short, you got to think of ways to make the money or the food last longer. You know, you might have to cut down from eating 3 times a day to 1 time a day. You know, it might get rougher. You might gotta start eating once every other day, or once every 3 days, right? Or if you are eating every day, you know, your portions are becoming less and less. You know, I told my Eve, right? I'm like, yo, man, I did calculations. I'm like, look, this is how much food stamps we get, right? In order for the food stamps to last throughout the whole month, this is how much money we need to be spending a week. You know, on you know, growing grocery shopping. This is how much money we need. It don't seem like, it seems like little to nothing, right? But in order for us to make it work, this is what we have to do. You know, we have to and go off faith for anything extra. You know, because the scripture says, if I think it was David, right? He said, I've been young, I have been old, never have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. I think that's in Psalms 137, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, you know, you prepare yourself for the, you know, you hope for the best, but prepare yourself for the worst. You know, you prepare, you make preparations for the worst case scenario first, right? And you pray and fast and put your hope in Yahweh Shema Shah that he will provide for everything in between, you know, what you can make plans for. So, and thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat. Thou shalt drink also water by measure. The 6th part of an hin from time to time shalt thou drink. Right? So, you know, you can't be letting the children go in and out of the refrigerator how they want, you know, as they please, to make Kool-Aid, to drink juice, you know, because if you let them, especially if they teenagers, you know, they're fucking you know, a gallon of juice. You know, you probably, when all hell breaks loose, you can't fuck juice. You can't buy no juice. Juice is too expensive. You probably can't even afford to fucking get bottled water. You know, it's gotta be tap water. Make sure you boil that shit, right? And you know, you store up as much as you could, and you know, you monitor. Look, everybody, you can't drink a full cup. You can only have a half a cup. You know, we can only make juice out of it once a week. You know, just to try to keep some type of balance. You know, because they're children. But And that's why it's good to not have any children, or definitely don't add unto the children that you already have in these last days, because things is already rough, man. That's the whole point. Things is already rough and a lot of people are already losing their minds. So, and a lot of people already don't know what to do. So how much more is gonna be when we really in the middle of Jacob's trouble, and we ain't seen nothing yet, man. We ain't seen nothing yet, you know. People thinking that, you know, that they're gonna be able to deal with things when it come. No, you're not gonna be able to deal with it. You know, people think that they're gonna be able to, that they're gonna be able to deal with the end of the world, the day of the Lord's judgment. You know, the thermonuclear destruction. They don't. You know, they sleep on it. You're not gonna be able to deal with that thermonuclear hellfire, man. All right, that shit is gonna be. The Lord is a very powerful entity worth fearing, you know, and he has a lot of tricks up his sleeves, you know, and you don't want to be on his bad side, man. You know, he has the power to cause you the worst agonizing slow death. You know how they, you know, a fast death is mercy from the Lord, but a slow death, you know, that's torment and torture. When you dying of a slow death, you dying of starvation. You know, certain situations, you wish to hurry up and die. You know. Ezekiel 4:12, and thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of a man in their sight. Right? So, you know, certain people gonna be making fucking shit cakes. Right? And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. Ezekiel 4:16. No, 15. It says, then he said unto me, lo, I have given the cow's dung for man's dung. Right? Cow shit. Right? And thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith. That's fucking disgusting. But it's gonna, you know, it's gonna get like that for certain people. Moreover, he said unto me, son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. That they may want bread and water, and be astonished one with another, and consume away for their iniquity. Right? Meaning die of starvation, man. You know? So, the time of Jacob's trouble is not going to be a walk in the park, or as easy as you may think, man. All right? So, Lord willing, that was edifying. All praise, honor, and glory is always unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, forever and ever. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and all other elders that teach the exact same thing only. Citations to the who for elect, beginning with the 144,000. Shalom.